Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the series of the common mistakes, which is intended as an extra help to all of those of you who are learning figure drawing, especially on your own when you don't have enough feedback. These episodes serve as an easy way to realize the most common mistakes we all make as we learn to draw. The one that I'm going to talk about in this episode is the connection of the upper and lower leg. Now, when the leg is straight, we usually make a mistake of drawing the leg in a straight line. So in this example of one of my students from the masterclass, you can see that the upper and the lower leg kind of form a straight line coming down in both these legs. Now, this was drawn from a model, and this model was not moving. So this is a static pose. The way it is drawn is a little bit awkward and stiff, and it doesn't provide enough of the rhythmic kind of movement of the shapes, and that actually gives us the aesthetic pleasure of the drawing of the human form. Now, in order to understand what is happening then and how to correct it, I'll just do a few quick sketches of the upper and the lower leg, just so we understand what's going on. Now, all of these, of course, are available as full lectures that are dedicated to either the upper leg or the lower leg, or even the knee that joins them. But essentially, these are going to be just a quick kind of schematic sketches that will explain, that will allow for you guys to understand why are things happening the way they are. So I'm not going to spend time describing the bones. All of that comes with the separate lectures. Okay, so somewhere there, this is the upper leg. There's the knee bit, and then the lower leg comes in. Something like that. So that's the front view, and for the foot, I'll just, we're not talking about the foot in this one. So that's kind of that's the front view. The same thing. Just leave some space here for the muscles. We'll be also talking about the muscles. Now, the same thing. I'll just try to get hopefully the same proportions. So this is the anterior view, this is going to be the posterior view. And I'm not even drawing in the pelvis. These bits here serve only as a basis to understand how the upper and lower leg kind of connect. So again, for the foot, I'll just put in this blob. And then on the, let's say there's the bum, then on the inner bit we have something like that. Okay. On the next, I suppose on the next paper I will do also the side view, which is also important, but But the reason why I'm doing this is for you guys to understand that the upper and the lower leg form a hinge, which is the knee, and a lot of the parts, a lot of the body parts, we are trying to understand in order to successfully draw. We need to imagine them in a simple mechanistic way. You know, a hinge is a hinge. It bends in one way, it doesn't bend in the other way. It needs some kind of a casing, it needs some kind of a support. And what happens with the leg, the hinge that joins the upper and lower leg is the knee. Now, for the strong support, we have the bony structures, and you can see on this bit these articulations at the bones. These provide the hinge itself, so the bones can connect in some meaningful way. Now, the second part, the second bit that we need for a hinge is something to support this hinge not sliding away. Now, there's a whole stack of muscles that do that, and the third part to the hinge are the muscles that actually provide the power, the locomotion that will create for the leg to bend. I think I will actually just to draw in the side view as well, and then maybe what I can do is just to draw in the muscles in the red chalk, so it's easy to see. So again, just trying to transfer these proportions, and you can see the hinge-like shape that this bone has. And then we have one of the bones of the lower leg coming down, and then we have this bit here. And then of course again we have the bony bits of the foot. And all of this, so there we had the bum somewhere there. We have all these powerful muscles in the front, and there's the patella, the little bit that slides. And then we have something like that, and then in the back we have all this, and then the muscles kind of bulge out that way. Okay, so that's for the bony structure, and as I said earlier, the bones provide the support. That's the basis of the hinge, and then muscles, which I'm just about to draw in, just very quickly and schematically. There's the muscles that come all the way down here that support, that kind of keep the hinge in place. There's a whole stack of muscles that come down here in the front, attached to this bit here, namely the quadriceps group. There's another strip that comes down from here and wraps itself around. So all of these muscles are designed, have a very specific purpose to keep the knee intact as a hinge, and plus to provide that locomotion, that power to bend the knee. So in order to understand how to avoid that stiffness, we need to focus on the shapes and understanding the mechanic nature of the knee and of the whole hinge setup. Now in the rear view, we've got a bum that kind of comes somewhere there, and all of these muscles, the origin, the insertion, all of those details you can find in the separate lectures. So this is just very, very fast. You can see these muscles, that the same, and they hold the hinge in place. It's anatomy becomes very enjoyable once you are able to relate it to other things. And then from behind there's a muscle that comes, it's the gastrocnemius group that comes all the way from behind there to provide the power that we need in order. It's got two parts just there, and then there's that becomes the Achilles tendon attached to this bit of the foot, and of course there's a few others on the side. Now in the strictly side view, what happens here is, again we have the bum, we have these powerful strings coming down, something like this, that are attached and provide all the necessary support that we need. And they overlap the joint, the knee, they overlap it, so they provide that that strength. And there's a few other here. No need to go in more detail. So essentially what happens, I changed the paper here. So this is important for you to know, that there's a specific shape and specific function for the bones and the muscles performing a certain role. Without which it wouldn't be actually possible to carry the weight of the body and allow. I mean, just imagine the body, the jumping, how much power that needs in order for us to jump and then land and cushion the whole weight of the torso, of the head, the legs, the arms themselves, just to have that weight supported. And that goes all through the knee. So incredibly powerful. Now, so what happens essentially is, and here comes the massing part. Massing, as we permeates the whole figure drawing. Always the massing is that's the king. Without that, nothing ever happens. So in terms of massing, if I put in the upper leg like such, and I'm doing it in a very simple geometric shape so it's understandable, put in the knee, and this is in the anterior view, so from the outside, and then put in the lower leg, and you can see this offset that happens, and then there's the foot. That happens if I run a line through the center. You can see how far it is offset, these 2 points, and that's really what happens with the muscles, the knee, in the back. So there's quite a lot of offset that happens. Now, when you take a shower the next time, just look down your leg, and you can see from the top view. If I imagine that this is your thigh, then there's a knee somewhere there, and then the lower leg and the foot. So there's this huge offset. So looking down your leg, you can clearly see the lower leg. You don't have to go too far to the side. And that's very important to remember. And because the hinge, the leg bends that way, but stops in this position, it pretty much always maintains this kind of a bend. It doesn't really go straight at all. The only times when that happens is when you force your leg to be straight, and it becomes hyperextended. Now, the natural position of the leg is actually to be slightly bent. So how this drawing kind of needs to look is, I do just a quick sketch of it, and again what I'm doing here is a simple massing of the pelvis, and then the upper leg, and then the lower leg. Now see how I put in, the reason why I'm putting this bend here is because this bone here of the upper leg has a bend in it. And the bony structure, the muscles always follow the bony structure. So if the bone is bent in a particular way, the muscles will follow this bulge. So this thing on the top of the thigh, the upper leg, is always there. So it's very easy then to create that offset just by following these two curved lines. And this bit here follows the gastrocnemius group in the back. In the middle somewhere there is the knee. So for this drawing, the thigh comes out and let's say ends in something like that. Again, I'm massing the upper leg as a cylinder. See, I'm doing these contour lines that describe the rounded shape. This comes down, and then we have the knee, and then we have the lower leg. And there's other things happening there. So this is the correct way of doing that leg. I have another example here. I'll just change the paper. Now this is a really good one because it's just a flat posterior view. As I said so many times before, if you have a choice, don't do a flat view unless you really know how to draw. You can convey the roundness of the body, the plasticity, the three-dimensionality of the body, even if you're looking at the back or flat on the front, but you need to provide that in massing in a smaller bits. So in this case, what happens? Let's say that the weight kind of rests on both of these legs, so the pelvis actually remains straight. So I do the straight pelvis there. Now what happens with the right leg is it gets offset that way. And you remember though that gastrocnemius group that comes from inside of there. So all I'm doing is remembering the shape of the muscles, remembering the position and the shape of the bones underneath, and just placing these masses in as a very, very simple geometric shape. And you can see, even though the leg is straight, it has the rhythmic movement, the rhythmic interplay in it. And the other leg, of course, goes forward, but again has the same displacement that we talked about. And this one comes this way, and of course you need to make sure that they both kind of stand on the same ground. So whenever you draw a leg, you need to remember that the upper leg is offset, or I should say the lower leg is offset on the upper leg. So all this becomes a nice rhythmic movement here. The same pretty much applies if somebody is lying down. And then you have the knee, and then you have the lower leg. This is a very good example of the simple massing. All I've done that is I visualized in my mind that that's the bum, that's the thigh, that's the knee there, and then from there comes the lower leg, and all of this is just masked as simple shapes, simple cylinders, and you don't have to go into any details in any of these, and you get a nice foreshortening. So again, that's the knee there. It's the quadriceps group going somewhere there, and you can see how this plane is offset to that plane. It's the same principle. you cannot put the leg, and there has to be a distinct down plane here, and then we have the bone of the lower leg coming forth. And you can, I don't know, even this person can even be sitting up, it's still the same principle, and the other leg, I don't know, comes somewhere up there. So that's the important part. There is an offset. It's not on the same line. All right. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Common Mistakes from the series of Common Mistakes, and we talked about the leg not being straight.